good evening to day 3 of the X-Pyr 2024. I'm here with Tom Payne, who is a legend in the hike and fly world, both as a competitor in the X-Alps and supporter and race reporter and strategist and commentator, and former participant in the X-Pyr as a supporter of Steve Bramfitt in 2018, and an XC legend, and also the creator of XC Planner. And you join us from home in Switzerland. So thank you very much for being with us.
Judith, very, very happy to be here. Very excited.
So today was the day.
This is it. I mean, this is the day that the X-Pyr is all about, right? You have the 3,500 meter cloud bases. We've got battles at the front. We've got incidents in the middle. Lots of very interesting strategic options. I mean, this is a day that everyone's going to be remembering for years to come. So should we look at where we are? So perhaps I start sharing my screen.
Oh, great.
Please choose this one. So first you sent me, well, actually, let's look at the route. We're on the route. We are about basically halfway through the task here. People started around turn point 2. They got as far as 3, and some even got to 4. So you sent me earlier a couple of photos from what the Pyrenees will look like in this gorgeous weather. So we had high cloud base, quite interesting winds, the different wind strengths at different levels, but different wind directions at different levels. That's made some very interesting tactical choices from the teams, and said not without incident either. So look at the start of the day. I have a way of replaying this. So this is really going. I'll zoom in so you can see. It shows everyone, but we're going to look into turn point 2 here, which is basically where the action started. And I've chosen 3 pilots here to start. At the end of yesterday, we had Gabe, who flown an absolute blinder, and Shane as well. It's really interesting. It's like normally people from outside of Europe tend not to do too well in these European competitions. So to have 2 folk from the Southern Hemisphere, I don't think Gabe has even flown in Europe before, to be out leading the pack, and there's such a strong pack is just fantastic. I bet they should be over the moon with their performance so far. But it's very interesting. So they, at the start of the race, so they managed to get turn point 2, which is this sort of Val d'Azun in the middle, if you can see my screen here. Gabe gets it on foot. He sort of landed in the valley and hikes up in the morning, whereas Shane very cleverly waits until he's so I'll go back so you can see this. He actually starts the day in the mountains, hikes, and then basically glides over it. And by midday, they're sitting on top of a mountain together, and this mountain here. And this is a really difficult situation for the athletes at this point, because they've got they know the condition is going to get better later in the day. If we look at the thermal forecast for what we got today, which I'll just bring up actually on a new one. The forecast was for a late start to the day. I'll do today's. And what we see is that it's pretty weak thermals in the morning, and then it really starts to kick off in the sort of early afternoon. And this is what gives a bunch of other athletes a chance to catch up, including Pierre Remy, who we'll see he's coming in from the top left here. He starts off way back, and by the end of the day, we'll see that he's right back at the front. The other really interesting thing from today, I think, was the Lars's choice, Lars Meerstetter. He takes a lone wolf route. He heads south. I think you were chasing him, weren't you, Judith?
Was, yeah. Well, the thing about it was we lost contact with him on the live tracking for 3.5 hours. So we in the bus didn't know where he was. We were sent by Inigo, the race director, to chase him, and we were going to be the only people going down into Spain. Everybody else was following the route, the optimized route. So Inigo was following him on his Garmin in reach. So we were just like remote controlled, go here, go there. And then suddenly we saw him, we're like, we can see him. And you was like, hallelujah. Because he sent us to the border, to the big pass, and we'd gone up and up and up. And he was like, it's a gamble. I don't know if it's going to pay out. Because if Lars changes his mind or lands, he's just sent a whole team to chase one pilot. But it did work out. And we got ourselves into the right position. And he's actually just landed next to him, the campsite where I am. So
excellent.
Just about it. I'm not going to interview him, but
for people watching this, it's being recorded at 8 p.m. So it'll go out a bit later. So, but I think there's also been quite a lot of incident in the midfield, and that you've also been following the news here, Judith, right? You had a couple of dropouts.
Yeah. Right. Listen, Tom, I'm going to turn my video off so that it doesn't. We're not using the bandwidth.
Okay.
And nobody needs to really see me, so. Okay. Right. I can hear you.
Okay. I will share again, so we've got to do. I'm waiting for you, Judith.
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you, but I've just turned my camera off so that we're not using so much bandwidth.
Yeah. So there's been quite a lot of action in the midfield, right? With a few dropouts and a couple of incidents. Tell us the gossip.
Okay, well, the gossip. Well, no, there's big news and there's gossip, and the big news is that Maxime Quinault has withdrawn. Yeah. Maxime had knee problems, and I was talking to him before the race at the Europeans, and he was saying that after the last X-Alps, he wasn't quite as hungry. I thought it would be the opposite. I thought with Kriegel not being there that he would really want to not be the runner-up again, that he would really want to win. But he was kind of like, and then after Timo's death, he was like, I don't want to take so many. So he already
I've lost you.
sad about it, because it's, it would have just been so nice to have him finish the race again. But he wasn't the only one to withdraw. We've also got Lucas Toledo, who is originally from Argentina but lives in Australia. He's got both leg and ankle problems. And Spanish pilot Dario Dandeo, who lives in your neck of the woods in Switzerland, he's had to withdraw as well. He had foot problems from day one. All on day one really exacerbated an old injury that he's got, so he had to withdraw as well. And the other pilot who had the incident is Serge Durant. Well, on the live tracking, he's known as Christian, but the only person who calls him Christian is his mum. He landed in a tree. I believe he's fine, but his wing is 10 meters up. Oh. And so they called the rescue, but the rescue can't get it out tonight.
Okay.
So he'll have to wait until tomorrow, until it's out, and then they can check it. So if it's badly damaged, I'm sure he's got a spare, but even so, it's going to really delay him.
Yeah, that's a real emotional hit to take. And I know he's got X-Alps ambitions, and a setback like this is going to be extremely tough. I hope he can get on his feet and be racing tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
Can we shift both focus back to the front of the race then?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So it's been very, very interesting today. We had this very exciting start with Shane and Gabe being out having what seemed to be a clear lead, and the following pilots really arriving later in the day. This is when they still have to fight through the stability, where Shane and Gabe have got being higher up, have got great access to the better air and altitude. I want to find PRME's track. Here he is. I'll turn his on, and he's currently just getting turn point 3, and I want to compare him with Swiss guy Montaigne, if I can find him. Unfortunately, with the Flymaster, this guy, my tracking, don't forget. So there's a very interesting very interesting watching them enter the main mountains here. This is one of the key sections of the race. So this here, the top left, is turn point 2. They don't have to land. Some people like Sebastian Weber fly over it. And then Shane and Gabe are starting on this mountain, but those arriving later, they arrive low in the valley and they've got to find a way to escape here. The valley wind's going to be blowing in from the north here. What's quite interesting today was that we had north winds on the north side of the Pyrenees, south winds on the south side of the Pyrenees, and a very nice convergence line that Shane was so to explore. But Pierre here is searching in the lee of the valley winds, and he's working really, really hard. And this is really stressful when you're a hike and fly pilot, because you want to make progress. You know that other people are making progress right now, and if you're stuck, but if you bomb out, you pay a terrible, terrible physical price of having to hike out. In the worst case, you land during the middle of the day and you're hiking out when other people are flying. Alton tries a different option. I think he's looking for the valley wind hitting against the ridge here. He soars up and it kind of works. He gets 1700 meters, but not quite enough, and eventually bails back to try Pierre's option. But this really shows the sort of the battles that are happening just to stay in the air and to catch up. Scooting ahead to the front, then Pierre flies an absolute blind, and this part of the course is just a racetrack. And I think what we're starting to see here is those with the competition flying experience, not just the hike and fly experience, but the European Championship style race to goal competitions really start to have an advantage. And so there it is. Pierre Remy, I think, is 24th in the world at the moment. So he's extremely former French champion, extremely strong pilot. And there,
former world champion. Former world champion.
I think. Oh, is it former world? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. So he's this follow group then are able to basically chase and catch Shane and Gabe. Gabe, they've both. I don't think Shane's done quite so many race to goal comps. He's done a lot of acrobatic competitions, whereas Gabe has done both hike and fly and race to goal. And they're all basically catching up. We've got the whole gaggle between turn points 2 and 3. Simon Roberauner has flown an absolute blinder again today. He started well behind like Pierre, and he's now in the first position, and on his way to what will be turn point 4, which is, I think, over here. The end of the day, I think today they're allowed to fly until 9 p.m. Is that right, Judith?
Correct, yeah. Every day from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah. So it looks like no one's going to make it out of this Gaston de Sos area this evening, but they're well placed for having completed half the course within 3 days. It's looking like it's well set up for day 4. How are you looking at day 4 evolving, Judith?
Well, I spoke to Inigo earlier, and he's the man with the plan, and he says that he thinks that the first guys will make it to Valdenuria tomorrow. They've got 145 kilometers to go, and he thinks they'll make it. Well, at least some of them will. I'm not going to Valdenuria. I won't be there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to Goal. Because, it's just, if they make it and I'm at Valdenuria, I can't make it to Goal. So we've got to spread our resources. So, I mean, if they do make it, the forecast looks good, but it may... Well, I haven't actually seen a forecast because I've been sitting in a bus all day with very little internet.
Let's have a quick look then.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, so this is tomorrow afternoon in the area around turn point 3, turn point 4. Looks like quite a late start. Again, the stuff starting around sort of 2 p.m. Bear in mind, of course, if you people on European time, Spain is further west, and so for the sun is a bit later in Spain than Central Europe. So have a later start, but also a later finish. We've got good thermals with good bases up to 3,000 meters or so. Strong tailwinds at altitude. Nice westerly winds, but also a chance of storm development. So I think it's going to be. It sounds like Nico's right. There's going to be some fast racing tomorrow. Probably a slow start, but then absolute full bar to the next turn point. And looking further ahead, I think the weather gets increasingly stormy and increasingly windy. So there's real pressure from the weather on the athletes to just max out the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's the analysis that I've heard. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how many people we actually get into goal. At first, when we changed the route, I think it was kind of like, well, we need to do something to get some people into goal. And now it's kind of like, if they make big progress tomorrow from Valdenuria, they've only got 75 kilometers to go as the crow flies.
Which they can run in a day and a half, basically.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
a single day.
well, if they'll get some flying from, on the way, it's just the last bit that's difficult if it's not flyable. So, yeah, I mean, my plan tomorrow is find as many people in the morning and then head off to goal ready for Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when there's lots of people in goal. It makes for exciting finishes. It makes for lots of happy pilots. So if we get 10 or 15 in goal, I think that's a fantastic result for the X-Pyr.
Yeah, let's just talk for a moment about Simon Oberrauner. Because Shane and Gabe did brilliantly, and Pierre-Emile, leapfrogged so many people. But Simon Oberrauner, a fantastic performance today. Really, and I mean, it was interesting because he was a rookie last time, and he didn't know that it was the first. He arrived, and that was the first time he'd ever been to the Pyrenees. And he had, last time it was it was terrible, the slog they had to do on day 2, and it was very, very difficult. And I remember when he arrived in goal, he said to me, "I'm not coming back." And I was like, "You sure?" And he was like, "No, I'm not coming back." So when he came, I said at the beginning at the start, I said to him, "You said you weren't coming back," and he was like, "I had to give it another go." So to see him ahead of the pack and doing so well, it's really nice, and he's such a nice guy as well. So yeah, no, I mean he did phenomenally well today.
It's fantastic, and yeah, he's in first place as we speak now. Only a few kilometers in it. I think a rough rule of thumb I use when looking at these sort of positions and distances is that flying you make about 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, and hiking 4 to 5 roughly. So an hour in the air is worth about 4 or 5 hours on the ground. But it also means that this race is really tight. So Simon's 3 kilometers ahead. That's about, realistically, he's 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead of Shane maximum. So it really is very, very tight at the front, and no one has any sort of commanding lead yet. It's going to be a real gripping battle at the front.
Yeah, I can't wait. But what's also so nice is, people asked me beforehand, like, who's my front runners? Who are the top seeds in this race? And there's a lot of people at the front that I would, either I don't know them well enough or I don't know their history well enough. But, there's names there that, I mean, Christian Schuck, I don't know at all. And Mael Baguette as well. There's Mael's glider was in a tree yesterday.
Okay.
So, and he's now in 5th position. It's fantastic. So it's so nice that we've got lots of different people having a great time in this race, and obviously, and I mean, also the other person to mention is Tommy Friedrich. I had an alert yesterday to say he has to go to the doctor because he's got infected blisters. And I found him and he was like, "No, I've got blisters, but who hasn't?" So, and I said to him, "Well, I hope you have a nice little sit down tomorrow and, just fly the whole day. Don't have to do any walking." And obviously that, came right for him. So that's brilliant.
Fantastic. Yeah, and it's one of the great things about the X-Pyr is that it has such a wide range of pilots compared to the other big race, the X-Alps, and so it's both a proving ground and a real place where the next generation of talent, you see them first.
Well, Maxime and Kriegel say that the X-Pyr is more difficult than the X-Alps. Yes. So, and I mean, because we're in the odd year, it's always been like that the X-Alps asks us, who can we recommend from the field that we've had. So it's nice that we always collaborate with each other. And also we obviously get a chance to have a look at how the applicants have fared in the X-Alps.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's been a super exciting day. I'm exhausted. There's only day three. I was exhausted on day one, but I'm even more exhausted now. So yeah, it's gripping stuff. Um, if I could just give a quick plug for tomorrow's guest
Mhm.
presenter, who is our weather forecaster, who's been doing the weather for us all week, Fabian Umbricht, who was in the edition that you were in, and also in the 2022, and a friend of yours, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and his girlfriend is yeah, very good, very nice guy, and very good pilot as well.
I hope to broadcast these things at 8, but these things are always such that I can not always be in the right place at the right time. But yeah. So is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it for now. Just good luck to the remaining athletes and teams. I'll be gripped.
So Tom, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it. I'm just really looking forward to tomorrow and the rest of the race. All the best to the remaining athletes and teams.
Let me just switch myself back on just briefly because it's nice to. Oh, no, it won't. Yeah. Okay, I should be back. Right. Okay. Just to say thank you very much for your fantastic insights. It's going to be another exciting day. It's going to really, tomorrow is going to be the crux day as to who finally gets the goal, I think. It's going to be really exciting. And thank you so much for your time. And it's been a pleasure, as always, to talk to you.
Thank you very much.